Sister Wives, why Meri Brown wasn't worried about paying off land. As Sister Wives viewers continue watching season 19, they're watching the Brown family tackle an incredibly stressful situation. They know they have to pay off Coyote Pass soon or lose it all. But some cast members seem more worried than others. Janelle Brown threatened to lawyer up and encouraged Meri to do the same. Meanwhile, Meri, Cody, and Robin seem unbothered about the situation. What's going on with them? Did Sister Wives star Meri Brown think they'd pay off the property? Many Sister Wives fans are curious to see what ultimately happens with the Coyote Pass property. But in the meantime, they're heavily speculating and diving into the minds of the Brown family. After watching the last several episodes, some believe Meri had faith they'd pay it all off. Meri wasn't worried about paying off Coyote Pass because, at that point in filming, the series was amid its largest ratings boost, season 17 airing, in years. She knew money was coming and the property would be paid off. The OP cited an article from the Ashley's Reality Roundup discussing how Sister Wives was at its peak in season 17. While season 17 was on TLC, they were likely filming content for season 19. On top of that, Cody Brown also largely seems unbothered about handling the payment. Meri and Janelle never quite got along, so it makes sense that Meri wouldn't heed her warning. If no one else feels bothered about the situation, why should Meri? Other viewers offer up their own opinions. It was certainly an interesting theory, but other Redditors weren't quite sure this explained Meri's feelings. I think Meri has 100% made peace with calling it a loss, and she was not interested in being drawn back into an emotionally draining back and forth with Cody. Meri doesn't care anymore because if it's a hit on her record, then it's a hit. Really, she probably already wiped her hands of CP. She has her own home, land, etc. Who cares about that toxic pit anyways? I think Meri was still in her adore Cody and Robin phase and assumed Cody was going to be an upstanding guy and do the right thing by the family. I think Janelle was hoping Meri would join with her against Cody because she knows Meri has money and can afford a good lawyer. Janelle wanted nothing to do with Meri, and now out of the kindness of her heart, she's worried about Meri getting her share. Meri wasn't born yesterday and isn't fallen for it. Meri Brown stood at the edge of the expansive Coyote Pass property, a cool autumn breeze tugging at her long cardigan. The sprawling land held dreams and promises that had once felt tangible, though now seemed distant and fragmented. Her family's unity had eroded, and while the land symbolized the shared aspirations of the past, it also carried the weight of their unraveling relationships. Yet, as the family fretted over finances and deadlines to pay off the property, Meri remained oddly unbothered. It wasn't apathy. Meri had her reasons. Deep down, she harbored a mix of practicality, resolve, and a touch of rebellion that kept her from spiraling into the panic gripping the rest of the Brown clan. 1. A quiet realization. Meri had always been the one to endure quietly. Over the years, she had been criticized, sidelined, and at times outright alienated. Watching her family's grand plans dissolve into squabbling and fractured connections wasn't new to her. It had become an unfortunate norm. But there was a part of her, a spark of self-assuredness, that refused to crumble under the weight of it all. Let them stress, she muttered to herself one evening while sitting on the porch of her bed and breakfast in Parowan, Utah. The B&B, Lizzie's Heritage Inn, was her sanctuary, a place she'd built with her own hands, separate from the drama of plural marriage. The others had been too wrapped up in Coyote Pass to see the long game. Meri, however, saw the writing on the wall. The land was no longer the dream it had been when they first bought it. Instead, it had become a financial and emotional albatross. 2. Financial independence. Meri's confidence stemmed largely from her financial independence. While Cody lamented the mounting debts and Robin wrung her hands over family budgets, Meri quietly worked on her own ventures. Between her successful B&B and her involvement in the multi-level marketing world, Meri had created a safety net for herself. Unlike her sister wives, who were often caught in the cycle of family financial crisis, Meri didn't rely on the group's collective income anymore. She'd learned long ago that she needed to take care of herself. Coyote Pass is their issue, not mine, Meri had told herself on more than one occasion. It wasn't that she didn't care. Meri had been part of the dream too, but she had grown weary of pouring her energy into something that seemed destined to fail. 3. A shift in priorities. What others saw as indifference was, for Meri, a shift in priorities. She had spent years chasing Cody's approval, the affection of her sister wives, and the idea of a cohesive family. But after Cristin left, Janelle began to question her place, and Robin seemed to tighten her hold on Cody. Meri realized that the dream she had once fought for no longer existed. Her heart wasn't tied to Coyote Pass anymore. Instead, her focus was on building a life that made her happy. That meant investing in her business, reconnecting with herself, and surrounding herself with people who genuinely cared for her. "I've given enough," Meri thought as she watched Cody and Robin argue over the logistics of dividing the land. "It's time I take something back for me." 4. A subtle rebellion. Meri's lack of concern over the land payments wasn't just about practicality, it was also her way of pushing back against Cody's dismissiveness. For years, she had been relegated to the sidelines, her voice drowned out by the louder, more dominant personalities in the family. By refusing to let the land drama consume her, Meri was quietly reclaiming her power. "You don't want my input," she had said to Cody during one heated discussion about the land. "Fine. Don't expect me to stress about it either." Her words had been met with Cody's typical shrug, but the message was clear. Meri was done fighting battles that weren't hers to fight. 5. Hope for a fresh start. While the others saw Coyote Pass as a symbol of the family's future, Meri began to see it as a chapter that needed to close. She didn't share their desperation to hold onto the land because she didn't see her future there. Meri had dreams that extended beyond the confines of Flagstaff. She envisioned expanding Lizzie's Heritage Inn, traveling, and embracing the freedom that came with stepping away from the constant chaos. "I'm not tied to this land," she told herself one evening as she packed for another trip to Utah. "I'm tied to my own happiness." 6. The final straw. As the deadline for the land payments loomed, tensions within the family reached a boiling point. Cody, frustrated and exasperated, called a meeting to discuss their options. "We need to come together on this," he said, pacing the room. "This land is our future. It's what we've been working toward all these years." Meri listened quietly as the others voiced their concerns. Janelle talked about her frustration with the lack of progress, while Robin fretted over the financial strain. When it was her turn to speak, Meri simply said, "I think we need to accept that not everyone sees this land the same way anymore." Her words hung in the air, unacknowledged by Cody, but deeply felt by the others. 7. A new chapter. In the end, Meri's detachment wasn't about abandoning her family, it was about recognizing when to let go of something that no longer served her. She wasn't worried about paying off the land because she knew that her future didn't depend on it. For years, Meri had been the one to compromise, to sacrifice, to hold on even when it hurt. Now, she was choosing a different path, a path that prioritized her own happiness and well-being. As she walked away from yet another tense family meeting, Meri felt a sense of peace. The land might have represented the Brown family's dreams, but for her, it was a reminder that dreams could change. And, for the first time in a long time, Meri wasn't afraid to dream a little differently.